It has been a much discussed build to WrestleMania. And I know a lot of people in wrestling would say, oh, you got him talking. No such thing as bad publicity. Not a lot of the talk's been positive. So with just a few days left before the show of shows, the showcase of the immortals, WrestleMania, let's take a look at where this show is at, where this build is at for 2026 with our opening bell. Just started talking about WrestleMania, and in the chat, Tall John, Oba, Brock. Yes. It is so funny that, like, we put all these different things and all these different stories and try to be the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the strings attaching to everything. And the best built, most anticipated match on the show, the entirety of the build is, this guy's huge. This guy's huge. This guy doesn't lose a whole lot, but this guy has just powerbombed him to hell a couple of times, and now they're going to have a match at WrestleMania. And it is the Big E, Big Meaty Men Smack and Meat, and that's it. That's what we got. They haven't got personal about family. Oba has said like 8 words in this entire build, but he's done the strut down to the ring, and then he's beat the tar out of the dude that everyone likes to see the tar get beat out of, and that's been the build. And so it's a nice reminder that sometimes simple works. And look, WWE has run into problems of just like, hey, these are 2 big dudes, we're going to put them in the ring at WrestleMania. That's gone poorly before. But sometimes when you got the right 2 big dudes, it's great. Oh, it's so good. And it might sound like I'm mocking. I'm not. This has been great. I've loved it. It's been so simple. It's been so perfect. And it's the match I'm looking forward to the most at WrestleMania. It is this generation's superpowers match. Yeah, like you can, like, everyone knows the way we want it to go, but you can make a very compelling case for it to not go that way. Not to me, I'll yell at you, but you could, if you wanted to, make a compelling case for it to go the other way. So that's obviously been the best built match of the program, right? Like, there's no question about what has been the most exciting, best build so far. In terms of the rest of it, it does feel like the McAfee thing was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I think in a vacuum, I was talking because my wife was gone for a week, and I showed her like, hey, this is what happened. What do you think? She said, oh, it's interesting. Like it got a reaction. It's Pat, and he's got a lot of charisma, and I think there's an interesting story you can tell. So I'd like to see what happens. And that is how I would view this, right? Like I think it was maybe not the guy we were expecting. A lot of people wondering if it was going to be The Rock or a Stephanie McMahon. I went through the WWE roster on their thing today. Shane McMahon is still listed on the active roster. So there was maybe some thought it could be him. And so when it's Pat McAfee instead of The Rock, there's a bit of a, But I think the way he did it, the promo wasn't the greatest, but I think you can kind of tell a story around it. It would be, in a lot of other builds, it would be a story where I would say, let's just see how it plays out, because I think there's a really cool way that they could go with it. The problem is that, aside from Oba and a couple things, is the whole fucking show is, well, let's see. You could go somewhere with it. This could be an interesting story. You could, if you finish it the right way, you could have something big out of this. There's very few, this is gonna rock, this story has been great. There's been a lot of, well, in theory. And that, I think, is the problem, is that you are already at a bit of a tipping point anyway, and then you have this McAfee thing, and the promo doesn't exactly go the way you want it to, from a fan standpoint, and now it's just like, all right, F this, F that, F everything. Done with it. No, I hate it. So it feels like if this was a couple of years ago and everything else was clicking, this would be a story that you're like, okay, let's just see how it goes, because we're rolling with the bloodline, Cody's story, and all of that. This is great. But now it's just it's like the 5th celebrity that we're going to have on this show, and we're already a little upset about the ticket prices and being in Vegas for another year and then going to Saudi Arabia and taking it away from New Orleans. And it's all these things that have built up. And now this feels like it was the match being placed to the fuse that just made everyone go F this and get really, really frustrated with all of it. And so it has felt a little underwhelming. I think they did pretty good on Raw to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit more. There have been a couple of stories that have been good. We talked about Oba Brock. I think Liv against Stephanie Vaquer has been very well done. And I mean, we'll see how Liv is after getting her head drilled off of Roxy's head last week on Raw. But I think that story has had the appropriate intensity and the build, and that has felt like a WrestleMania feud. It's been really good. I think Drew and Fatu, I'm excited for the match. I understand the high level of intensity that they want to portray in this feud, and because of all the different steps that we've had in it, it makes sense to have all that intensity. It feels too over the top, where the guys are like, well, that was murder, jumping off of the scaffolding, and then they're back the next week, and we're still brawling, and we're still doing all these things, and it's just like, okay, you are making me well aware that this shit's fake right now, you know? So let's just chill on that a little bit here. But overall, like, I think it's going to be a good show, you know? And I have in my notes here, it feels like the Vince era. And by the way, the people being like, oh, bring Vince back. Like, guys, the shows were objectively horrendous when he was in charge of it all, right? Like, maybe Levesque has kind of run out of ideas and lost his fastball a little bit, but this is still worlds ahead of anything that was going on in the back part of the McMahon thing. And when I say back part, I mean the last decade of the McMahon stuff. So let's not, I mean, like, for human being reasons, the dude's a piece of shit. But for, like creatively, and you think he's just been sitting there for 2 years coming up with good ideas? No, get out of here. So I'm not with that. It does make me think, though. It does remind me. I used to, for those who don't know, used to host a wrestling radio show out here. We called it Combat Central. We did a lot of UFC and boxing stuff too, but we did some wrestling stuff and actually got to interview a lot of really cool people. One of them was Christopher Daniels. And I asked him, what would you take from the comic book world and bring it into the pro wrestling world? And felt like he kind of paused, was like, oh, okay. And I'm not doing that to toot my own horn as an interviewer, but it was just like he gave a genuinely thoughtful answer. And one of the things he said was, I wonder if you kind of need to let people only have a small chunk of time with it. And I know that's what we made fun of WCW for and Crockett for back in the day, where every 6 months something was changing. But his point was like, every 18 months, you only have so many ideas. And so in comics, it's okay, we've had this person in charge for a little bit. We've had this person in charge, whether it's the movies or whatever. We've had this person in charge and directing these for a bit. Let's now go to someone else and let them have at least a couple of ideas and try to string it along. And then if it sucks, we can go back to that guy. If it's good, we can kind of keep it rolling. But let's not make someone have to do this for 5-6 years in a row, because at some point you do run out of ideas. And I get that that's kind of the point of a creative room that we now have access to through Unreal. But it does kind of make you wonder, like, maybe it would be good for Levesque to take a bit of a break, because it hasn't been great the last little while, that's for sure. Tall John in the chat. First on Brock and Oba. I want them to let Brock lose to push Oba to the, I'm having trouble reading today. I want them to let Brock push Oba to the limit, even if they let him win for the future storyline. I think there's a couple of interesting things that you could kind of have coming out of it. Hollywood King 310. Hi, it's going well. How are you? That's over in the YouTube chat. But for Tall John, I think, like, there is a world, I want Oba to win, and by SummerSlam, he's winning the world title. Even by Backlash, you know, like, he gets the next match, whether it's Roman, Punk, whoever. He just, like, give him the title and just go. Like, just run with it. Like, just take off, beats Brock, keeps rolling, does that thing. I do also wonder if the Gunther-Seth story is leading to Gunther wants to retire Brock in Minneapolis. That's what Brock, that's the favor that Gunther wants from Paul Heyman in exchange for this. And so does it make sense to have Brock lose to Oba and then lose to Gunther? I think so, because I want to see this guy. I would prefer it if his retirement match was like Joe Hendry and he's just lost to everyone along the line because blank that guy, right? But I like, you can make somewhat of a case if they want to try to keep Brock strong, but Oba should be the project. He is, as Conrad Thompson on his podcast would say, over like Grover. So just let him be. Let him keep rolling. Let him keep doing his thing and get that win. But I don't want it to be 30 seconds. I kind of want it. I want the start of it. Well, we'll talk about this more in the week, I guess. But what I have right now is the start of this match is Ultimate Warrior, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, WrestleMania 12, where you got this big thing. It's the entrance. Everyone's fired up. Helmsley hits the pedigree and Warrior just pops up. I want that for Brock Oba. You get Oba coming in, Brock just quickly, like 5 seconds, up, F5, boom. Everyone watching would buy it because the hardcore fan base is like, oh my god, they want Brock to kill this guy, and they want to keep Brock strong. They've had Oba look strong the whole way. Now they're going to even it out for Brock to win. Oh, we hate this. And you would have like the casual wrestling fan being like, oh my gosh, Brock Lesnar, he does this all the time. And then have Oba pop up right away. If you want to do a count of one, fine. I wouldn't even let it get to a cover. I would just eat the F5 and Oba gets up as if it's an arm drag to start the match. And then we just get into WWE 2K26 where everyone has their finishers built up. Like that's how I would start it and just get this thing moving hot. That's kind of what I would look at there for sure. Tall John, lack of ticket sales, McAfee and Ram trucks, etc. Just a bad taste in my mouth after CM Punk drops the bombs about asses in seats. The tickets are slow and they are rubbing it in fans' faces a little bit. Yeah, that whole aspect of it, like you can see. There's a world where you can tweak the McAfee promo and it makes a ton of sense. Like Randy Orton, he's the biggest draw, and what all you guys are doing obviously isn't working because Randy Orton's the draw and ticket sales aren't there. But then to keep kind of hammering at that point, like it should be the subtext of kind of the bigger thing, and it's become the main focus of a lot of that, and that shouldn't be happening with this right now. It just shouldn't. So that is where I think it has kind of rubbed people the wrong way. When it has been about ticket sales and making this company money. And then the hypocrisy of, well, like CM Punk saying, well, get your boss to get the ticket sales down, when obviously like Cody is the face of this company and has been with a lot of stuff. Like it's just, once you get past the surface level of it, and if you want to do like the work shoot stuff, that does lead to those types of like, okay, well, let's look at this in a deeper level. And it falls apart even on like the step below. So I get what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's working, and they're not doing it in a very good way. And that's been a little frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans. Absolutely. So it's not great. But again, I think the show's going to be awesome. Like that ladder match is going to be insane. I think we're going to get a really good match out of Punk and Roman. I do think something really interesting is going to happen with Randy and Cody. And I think a lot of the matches are going to be very, very good. It's just the build up to it has not really captured people in the same way that it did a couple of years ago. And it feels like it's been going in that trend here for a little bit. So let me know, again, where you're at on this WrestleMania build as we sit an hour out from Monday Night Raw.